There is a moment somewhere between your heartbeat and your breath where you forget the noise of the world and you finally hear the truth that has been trying to reach you. A truth that has been waiting quietly, patiently, like a presence just behind your shoulder. The truth that says you are loved in ways you haven't even begun to understand, not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are when the world stops watching. Because there is someone who sees everything you hide, everything you silence, everything you bury, and still loves every inch of you. You don't have to earn this. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to become someone different just to be worthy of it. This love is not measuring you. It's not comparing you. It's not asking you to perform. It simply exists like the sun, unmoved, unchanging, pouring warmth, whether you notice it or not. This is the kind of love that studies your soul, not your mistakes. It sees the storms you walked through and whispers, you didn't break, you grew. It sees your past and says, you didn't fail, you learned. It sees your scars and says, these aren't flaws. These are proof you were stronger than what tried to destroy you. Most people never get to hear this kind of truth. Most people go through life starving for approval, begging for someone to choose them, searching for a place where they finally feel safe. But you, even in your loneliest moments, there's always been a presence that chose you long before you ever tried to choose yourself. A presence that watches you the same way you watch someone you care for deeply, quietly, protectively, with a love that doesn't need to speak to be real. And whether you believe it or not, whether you feel it or not, someone loves everything about you. Not the filtered version, not the cleaned up version, not the version you show when you're trying to be strong. They love the real you, the one who's still healing, the one who's still figuring things out, the one who doubts, who fears, who overthinks, the one who tries even when they're exhausted. They love the way your heart still softens even after it's been hurt. They love the way you still care even when people try to turn you cold. They love the way you get back up every single time. Sometimes slowly, sometimes with trembling hands, but always with a spirit that refuses to die. They love the way you carry hope like a secret ember, guarding it even on the days when your world is dim. They love the way you feel deeply, the way you sense things others overlook, the way you notice pain that isn't yours and somehow carry it with compassion. You call this sensitivity a weakness, but they see it as a rare kind of strength, the kind that can't be taught or forced, the kind that only comes from a heart that has been tested and still chooses light. And if only you could see yourself the way they see you, if only you could step outside your own doubts and witness the truth through their eyes, you would realize that your quiet resilience is breathtaking, your patience is underestimated. Your ability to survive what tried to end you is heroic. There's a reason you're still here. There's a reason you weren't destroyed. There's a reason your story didn't end where you thought it would. Someone has been holding you through every silent battle, every hidden tear, every prayer you whispered into the dark. You didn't come this far alone, even on the days it felt like you did. You have no idea how deeply you're valued, how deeply you're understood, how deeply you're seen. There is a love around you that does not judge your journey. It does not shame your wounds. It does not rush your growth. It stands by you like a steady hand, gently guiding, quietly strengthening, patiently waiting for the moment you finally believe the truth it's been saying all along. You are enough, more than enough, exactly as you are, This love has watched you grow through things you never even spoke about. It has seen you shattered and still rising. It has seen you misunderstood but still gentle. It has seen you overlooked but still loyal. It has seen you lonely but still giving. And every time you thought no one noticed your effort, every time you felt invisible, every time you felt forgotten, this love was observing you with awe. Because strength like yours isn't loud, it isn't showy, it isn't easy. It's built from nights you didn't think you'd survive. It's built from mornings when you woke up with nothing left but still chose to try. It's built from those moments you wiped your own tears, straightened your shoulders, and whispered to yourself, keep going. Someone loves everything about you because they've seen everything about you. Not the version the world applauds, but the version that wrestles with silence, with fear, with doubt. The version that keeps fighting, even when you don't realize how powerful that is. They love the way you keep your promises, even when you're tired. They love the way you give more than you receive, even when your heart is weary. They love the way you stand back up without telling anyone how hard it was. They love the way you protect others while quietly carrying wounds no one sees. They love the way your soul still leans toward goodness, even after everything you've endured. You don't understand the depth of your own beauty. You don't realize the gravity of your presence. You don't know how many people would be different, worse, weaker, lonelier if you had never existed. You change rooms without speaking. You calm storms without knowing. You inspire hearts without trying. And this person who loves everything about you sees that, feels that, treasures that. They love your voice, even when it trembles. They love your loyalty, even when it leaves you tired. They love your thoughts, the quiet ones you never say out loud. They love your laughter, especially the one you haven't heard in a long time. They love your softness, the one you hide because the world wasn't gentle with you. They love your courage, the one that shows up even on the days you feel weak. They love your mind, your soul, your story. There is a moment when you finally stop running from yourself and start listening to the quiet truth rising inside your chest. A moment when you realize that the love surrounding you isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be real, to step out of the shadows of old fears, to breathe without apologizing, to exist without shrinking. And as you begin to understand this love, something inside you starts shifting, slowly, gently, powerfully, like dawn breaking after a night that felt endless. You begin to recognize the way this love steadies you, how it catches the tremble in your spirit and whispers calm into it, how it sees the heaviness in your heart and lifts it without demanding anything in return. There is a power in being loved like that, a quiet transformation that begins in the places you thought were too fragile to touch. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not the fireworks kind of change. It's the kind that rebuilds the foundation inside you, the kind that makes you stand taller without noticing, the kind that makes your voice deeper without forcing it, the kind that makes your soul remember its own worth. And as this love moves through you, you start to see yourself differently. You start to see the courage you didn't know you had, the wisdom you didn't know you carried, the softness you didn't know was strength. You start to see how every painful chapter shaped you, not to weaken you, but to prepare you for a deeper kind of existence. You start to realize that nothing you went through was wasted. Not the heartbreaks, not the disappointments, not the betrayals, not the lonely nights where you felt forgotten. Every moment carved something into you: patience, clarity, compassion, resilience. You became a soul with depth, a heart with layers, a spirit with endurance. The person who loves everything about you sees all of this unfolding. They see the glow returning to your eyes, the steadiness returning to your breath, the strength returning to your posture. They see the way you're learning to stop doubting what you bring to the world. They see the way you're beginning to trust yourself again. And they love watching your transformation, not because they needed you to change, but because they always knew who you truly were beneath the weight you carried. This love doesn't push you. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't try to sculpt you into something else. It simply holds the mirror steady so you can finally see yourself clearly. And when you really look, you begin to realize that you are more than the stories you tell yourself at 3 a.m. You are more than the fears that try to shrink you. You are more than the wounds that made you question your worth. You are something rare, something resilient, something deeply human and deeply divine at the same time. You begin to notice the warmth inside you, the spark, the quiet fire that never went out, the one you thought was gone, but it wasn't gone. It was waiting for you to breathe again, waiting for you to believe again, waiting for you to stop settling for the version of yourself shaped by other people's opinions. And as that fire rises, so do you. Not in a sudden burst, not in a dramatic moment, but in a steady, deliberate ascent like a mountain pushing through the clouds after years of silence. This is what real love does. It doesn't save you. It awakens you. It pulls you back into yourself. It reminds you that you were always capable of more than you ever dared to imagine. It teaches you to stop being afraid of your own potential, to stop hiding your brilliance, to stop apologizing for your depth, to stop dimming your spirit so others feel comfortable in your presence. For the first time in a long time, you begin to walk differently, with intention, with quiet confidence, with a sense of belonging that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. You begin to speak differently, not louder but truer, not to impress but to express. You begin to dream differently, not with fear of disappointment, but with a deep knowing that what's meant for you has already begun its journey toward you. And the person who loves everything about you, they feel this shift too. They see the old weight lifting from your shoulders. They see the glow returning to your spirit. They see you stepping into your own life with a presence that can't be ignored. They love the way you're learning to receive, not just give. The way you're learning to trust, not just endure. The way you're learning to open your heart without fearing the past. Because they don't just love who you were, they love who you're becoming. A soul that no longer hides its light. A heart that no longer apologizes for beating deeply. A spirit that no longer bends to the world's expectations. The world around you begins to change too, not because it became softer, but because you became stronger. Things that used to break you now teach you. Things that used to scare you now shape you. Things that used to confuse you now guide you. You start to understand that every storm you survived was preparing you to receive a love like this, unwavering, grounding, transformative. This is the rise you didn't know was coming. The healing you didn't know you deserved. The becoming you didn't know was within you. And the deeper you grow into yourself, the more you feel it. Someone truly, completely, quietly loves everything about you. There comes a point when you begin to feel the shift not only around you, but within you, subtle at first, like the quiet settling of dust after a long storm. You start to sense a clarity forming in places that were once tangled with doubt. The fog that used to cloud your decisions begins to lift, and your heart, once heavy with uncertainty, starts to beat with a calm sense of direction. This is what happens when you finally recognize the depth of a love that has been holding you long before you ever felt worthy of it. You begin to realize that this love doesn't cling to who you used to be. It embraces who you are becoming. It sees the way you're learning to breathe again, not out of habit but out of intention. It sees how your silence is no longer a place of fear, but a sanctuary where your spirit gathers strength. It sees the way your eyes soften when you forgive yourself, the way your shoulders relax when you stop carrying burdens that were never yours, the way your soul opens like a flower learning the warmth of the sun for the first time. Growth doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hums through the quietest moments. A slow exhale after a lifetime of holding your breath. A single tear that doesn't break you but frees you. A small choice, gentle, honest, deliberate, that changes the entire direction of your life. These are the signs of transformation, and the person who loves everything about you recognizes them even before you do. They feel the shift in your energy, the renewed softness in your presence, the emerging strength in your silence. They see the way your spirit is learning to stand without trembling, and you start to understand something profound. Love like this is not an escape from reality. It is an invitation back into it, an invitation to show up fully, boldly, unapologetically, to step into your days with a grounded heart and a steady mind, to speak with a voice that no longer shakes from the weight of past wounds, to move through your world with a grace that doesn't need validation, a confidence that doesn't need permission, a purpose that doesn't need applause. You begin to feel the weight of old identities falling away. You are no longer the version of yourself that doubted every step. You are no longer the soul that carried everyone else's expectations like chains around your ankles. You are no longer the person who looked into the mirror and saw only flaws. You are becoming someone new, not because this love changed you, but because it reminded you of who you were all along. The love that surrounds you doesn't rewrite your story. It reveals it. It uncovers the strength you hid from yourself. It uncovers the beauty you never dared to claim. It uncovers the courage that lived beneath your fear. It uncovers the wisdom that was forged in the fire of your hardest nights. And slowly, you begin to see everything you once thought was broken as something sacred, something that shaped you, refined you, strengthened you. You start to carry yourself with a quiet power, the kind that doesn't need to be announced, the kind that speaks through presence, not performance, the kind that radiates from the inside out. People begin to sense something different in you, even if they can't explain it. They feel the calm in your voice, the certainty in your gaze, the peace in your energy. They feel the way you move through the world, deliberate, grounded, awake. And the person who loves everything about you, they notice the glow before anyone else. They see the fire returning to your spirit, steady and controlled. They see the gentleness in your strength, the strength in your gentleness. They see how you're learning to trust your own heartbeat again, to follow your own intuition, to stand in your own truth without flinching. You begin to understand that your softness was never a weakness, it was the birthplace of your resilience. Your sensitivity was never a flaw, it was the doorway to your wisdom. Your vulnerability was never a liability, it was the opening through which real connection could finally enter. Everything you once tried to hide is becoming the very thing that sets you apart. There comes a moment when you realize that you are no longer the person who once begged for acceptance. You're no longer the soul who molded yourself to fit into places that were too small for your spirit. There's a new steadiness in you, a quiet certainty rising from somewhere deep and ancient, as if your soul finally remembered what your mind had forgotten. You are worthy not because someone chose you, but because you finally began choosing yourself. And the love surrounding you, the love that sees everything about you, has been waiting for this moment with a patience that feels almost divine. You start noticing the way you breathe differently now. Not shallow, not rushed, not desperate, but full, intentional, grounded. You breathe like someone who understands their own value. You breathe like someone who no longer apologizes for existing. You breathe like someone who knows that their presence holds weight, that their voice carries meaning, that their heart has a purpose that cannot be erased by the opinions of others. There is power in breathing like that, power in standing like that, power in becoming like that. Your old wounds still whisper from time to time, but they no longer control your steps. They no longer dictate your choices. They no longer steal the future from you. Because you have learned to hold your pain with wisdom instead of fear. You have learned that healing doesn't erase the past. It transforms it. It turns bitterness into clarity. It turns loss into direction. It turns hurt into depth. You begin to see that everything you went through gave you something: discernment, patience, resilience, compassion. These weren't losses, they were foundations. And the person who loves everything about you sees how far you've come. They see the way you're no longer surviving, you're expanding. They see the way you're no longer hiding, you're stepping forward. They see the way you're no longer shrinking, you're rising into the fullness of who you are. This is what real love does. It doesn't cage you, it frees you. It doesn't limit you, it nurtures you. It doesn't demand you become someone else. It reminds you that you were extraordinary all along. There is a transformation happening in you that even you can feel now. A gentle shift at first, like the slow blooming of a flower opening to morning light. But then it grows stronger, more confident, more undeniable. You start feeling drawn to the life that is truly meant for you. The life where you're not controlled by fear. The life where you're guided by intuition. The life where your peace matters as much as your purpose. The life where you stop chasing what isn't for you and begin attracting what aligns with your soul. You start recognizing your own strength, not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind that withstands storms without breaking, the kind built through years of carrying burdens no one knew about, the kind shaped through nights when you held yourself together with nothing but faith, the kind forged through disappointments that nearly shattered you but somehow pushed you into deeper understanding. This strength is sacred. This strength is earned. This strength is yours. The deeper you go into yourself, the more you see the truth. You were never alone, not for 1 second, not in the nights when your heart felt hollow, not in the moments when your confidence crumbled, not in the seasons when everything inside you felt like it was falling apart. There was always a presence, always a love, always a quiet force that held you together when you had no idea how you were still standing. A love that saw your tears and didn't turn away. A love that saw your confusion and didn't judge it. A love that saw your flaws and didn't run from them. A love that chose you at your lowest so it could celebrate you at your becoming. You start to understand that you do not need loud validation to know your worth. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You don't need to be understood by everyone. Sometimes the most powerful moments of your life will happen in silence, in private, in the quiet space where your soul learns to rise without an audience. This is where real transformation begins. And the person who loves everything about you sees this silent rise and honors it like something holy. You are becoming someone with depth now, someone with boundaries, someone with clarity, someone whose peace is no longer negotiable, Someone who knows that love without respect is not love. Someone who knows that relationships without truth are not connections. Someone who knows that your soul's comfort matters as much as any dream you're chasing. You're learning to protect your heart without closing it, to trust your intuition without doubting it, to walk away from chaos without guilt. This is growth. This is maturity. This is strength in its purest form. There is a softness returning to you too, not the softness of weakness, but the softness of someone who survived their own storms and still kept their heart open. A softness that knows the value of peace. A softness that sees beauty where others see flaws. A softness that holds others with compassion but refuses to hold on to what harms you. This softness is your superpower. It's what makes you human, what makes you real, what makes you unforgettable. And the one who loves everything about you cherishes this softness. They cherish your voice, your silence, your questions, your hope. They cherish the way you love, the way you forgive, the way you rebuild. They cherish the parts of you the world tried to dim. They cherish the parts of you even you doubted, because they see the truth about you. You are not becoming worthy. You always were. You're just finally stepping into the version of yourself that was waiting underneath the pain. This is not the end of your rise. It is only the beginning. And the person who loves everything about you watches your growth with awe, with reverence, with a kind of affection that cannot be shaken. Because you are not just healing, you are transforming. You are not just surviving, you are ascending. You are not just living, you are becoming.